What's up, gang? Scott Argenbright back again. Today we're going over boat flips. So when to boat flip a fish, when not to boat flip a fish, and how you can be a better boat flipper. We're also going to talk about my background and some of our guests, their backgrounds as well. Stay tuned. All right, so to tell you a little bit about my background, I started, just like everybody else, trying to film YouTube videos and just going out and fishing and learning, to take photos and videos. And then I got hired by 13 Fishing to work for them directly. Worked for them for 2.5 years, and then was hired by Savage Gear to do marketing for them as well. The whole deal pandemic hit, and I found myself going out on my own, starting my own business, and filming in the fishing industry. So I film on the Elite Series. You're gonna see some clips in this video and in future videos with Drew Benton, Drew Cook. They're the two guys that I film with. So gonna get a little bit of, seeing the pros and how they do it. So pretty nice, content there. But that's my background. I go from Florida to northern Wisconsin, fishing smallies in the summer, and then come back down here for these big largies, when they're spawning. So a little bit of mix of, just about everything, finesse fishing, power, frog, southern fishing. So really good stuff there. Some of our other guests, they're gonna be in different, experience levels. So some will be beginners. We had Rachel on a video in the last video, and she's very, very beginner. And then we also had Annie in the last video, and she's probably been fishing like 5 or 6 years. She's got, a little bit of experience under her belt. She does a little bit of saltwater as well. So we're gonna have guest appearances by, anglers of all experience levels. So anywhere from beginner up to kind of like a guy like me that fishes all the time, and work with Elite Series angler. All right, so in that first video that you guys watched, if you didn't watch it, go back and check it out. Throwing a Big Easy again here in Florida. I'm in a field of pads. Really, really good spot to throw this, up top, buzz it along the top. Now I've got 50-pound braid on here. So anytime that you have one single big hook, you've got 50 pounds, 65 pound. Some of the Okeechobee guys even throw 80-pound braid. You're gonna want to, you can boat flip a fish. So definitely set the hook hard, on a bait like this, and you can totally boat flip that fish. Now, a good rule of thumb on that, what is the max? So where do you draw the line? If you've got a 3-pounder, 4-pounder, 5-pounder, whatever, the tough guys, they're gonna be like, boat flip everything, boat flip 8-pounder, 9-pounder, whatever. Don't do that, Make sure that if you think it's over 5 pounds, you probably don't want to boat flip it. You're probably gonna want to get down there, grab that fish.
Boat spawner, like an idiot.
If it's a largemouth, they're gonna come up with that mouth just wide open, grab them, get them into the boat. You risk, breaking off. If you've got braid, you're probably not gonna break off, but you risk losing that fish if it's that big and you're trying to boat flip. All right, on the flip side, I'm throwing a little trap here, rattle trap, really good bait, post spawn here in Florida to throw. Treble hook bait. Now, treble hook baits, you're typically not gonna wanna boat flip a fish. If they're in between, I'd say whatever, 2 and 3 pounds, sure, you can boat flip them. But anytime that fish is over like 3 pounds, you're probably gonna wanna make sure that you reach down and grab that fish. Obviously, you're gonna wanna be careful if you got a jerk bait and 3 hooks. But reach down and grab that fish, use your net. Not something that you wanna boat flip. You don't wanna lose it, you don't wanna break off. Typically on a treble hook bait, you're gonna be using, 10 pounds, sometimes 8 pound, 10 pound, 12 pound fluoro. So not something that you really want to boat flip a lot if you've got a bigger fish. Again, if you've got a dink, we all catch dinks every now and then, you can boat flip that fish in for sure. All right, last but not least, what the vast majority is gonna throw, especially you beginners, is a spinning rod. So treble hook baits like this jerk bait, you're not gonna wanna boat flip again unless that fish is a little bit smaller. Make sure that you're grabbing them. So the reason for that is on a spinning rod, you've got you know, a lot more tip in that rod. It's just a lot bendier. So really you don't want to risk breaking that rod and boat flipping a fish you shouldn't be boat flipping. So 1 pounders, 2 pounders, again, safe to boat flip. So use your net, grab that fish by hand if you're using a spinning rod, and especially treble hooks. Now, the other baits that you're gonna use with a spinning rod typically are gonna be more finesse, so you're not gonna be using big heavy line, and not typically something that you'd wanna boat flip with. Boat flipping 101, you wanna make sure that you're not high sticking that fish. What does high sticking mean? So anytime that you've got the fish parallel like this to the boat, you're gonna grab the rod here. Don't grab further down the rod. You wanna hit it right on that trademark there, and you're gonna bring that fish into the boat. Now, if you pull towards you, wheel that fish either into the front, wheel it into the back. You wanna keep your rod as parallel to the water as possible. So the moment that you high stick that fish, right, you're trying to boat flip it in, you grab right here, your rod tip is parallel, and you're high sticking that fish to get them into the boat, pulling them up like this. What that does is all the weight of that fish is on the tip end of your rod. What that means is your rod is probably gonna break, or it very well could break. Now, a lot of the times it won't, but you get a big enough fish, or you get it at the wrong angle and your tip is up high like that, and you're boat flipping it in, none of the strongest part of the rod is gonna help you get the fish in the boat. All the weight is on the most sensitive part of the rod. So a 1 pounder could very well snap the end of your rod tip. So word of advice, when you're boat flipping, again, as parallel as you can keep that rod to the boat, to the water, you're gonna use the backbone of the rod to get the fish into the boat. So if you do that, you're much, much less likely to break a rod. Then you gotta send in a warranty claim, you gotta go through all this process, or you gotta tell mom and dad, hey, I broke my rod, you gotta buy me another one. Let's avoid all that and make sure that you keep that rod parallel to the water and just wheel that fish into the back of the boat, bringing it onto the front deck. You know, we're up here and you got that fish in there right like this, and you're lifting it up like that onto the boat. So don't let the fish get deep close to the boat and then do one of these numbers. I mean, I can't even make myself do it to show you. The other thing to keep in mind is if you can get that fish moving, if you've got his head moving towards the top of the water, you know, it looks like he can maybe jump, but he's right there, that's a perfect moment. You've got the momentum coming, you hit him, boat flip him then, and he's gonna shoot right into the boat. So a couple small, you know, tips there to help you boat flip a little bit more efficiently and help you break a few less rods. So keep that in mind next time you're doing boat flips. It's a new season. Also, make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. I'll see you on the next one.